That is a very good point. Well, we're ready for the draft of game number 2. Let's see if Rising Lotus have as much success this time around. Wonder if they're going to go for a similar kind of composition here, or if Denial Esports are going to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, well, that strong front line definitely worked wonders for them in game number 1. I would actually like to see them do that because they seem to really know how to play that specific style of composition.
Yeah. I think there was also a really good argument for the CP laners, the Celestes, the Scarfs, and a lot of people have gone away from it saying, oh, it's not too effective. Well, you know what? If you get into a composition like this, it has a lot of effect. There's massive damage output. Celeste built 1 defensive item, had 4 offensive items, and it really shone through at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. The protect the carry sort of style for Rising Lotus. So see what they're going to do. They're already using that bonus time just on this first ban. Really trying to decide what they want to do. You know, it's a lot of those mind games coming through, you know, trying to decide if we ban this, then we expect they'll ban this, and then we'll be able to pick, like, you have to think multiple steps ahead.
Yeah, you definitely do here. Well, it's going to be Kestrel banned right off the bat. Rising Lotus don't want to deal with any of that.
Yep, not too surprising. I mean, Kestrel can really take over a game in the early goings. It gave them a lot of trouble early on. They were able to eventually deal with it, but they want to be able to just deal with it right off the bat.
Yeah. And, you know, we mentioned it before, it is one of Artemis Grace's top heroes, even though it didn't pick up the win for them there. Lyra comes through as the first ban.
Yeah, that's the other thing with that first Kestrel ban. It forces your opponents to say, okay, are we going to ban the Lyra or the Adagio? Are we going to leave both of them open? Either way, you're guaranteed one of them. Rising Lotus takes the Adagio.
I mean, Denial Esports, what is the best possible power pick answer here? Maybe the Glaive or Ringo, something we've seen paired with Adagio before to a pretty devastating effect. So could go that direction.
They again have multiple options. Glaive, Ringo, Lance, all very viable. It's going to be the Lance coming out. We typically see Lance being thrust into one of these top 4 spots on the draft board.
And I like to see the Lance come out here instead of that Glaive or Ringo, because it definitely does define your draft a little bit more when you pick up the Ringo, and it allows your opponent to say, okay, well, we're just going to get someone that can dive onto the back line and burst that target down. Lance, it's a little bit more up in the air, right? We just saw it in jungle position. We know he's a great captain roamer, so we'll see where it goes.
Second ban for the side of Rising Lotus, the final ban of this draft, now on the clock. Lots of options. Again, that's one of the big things that we're going to be emphasizing and stressing a lot during this double ban format is the amount of options. And you know, where do you go with it? They ban away the Ringo, even though it didn't actually appear at all in the previous draft.
Do you feel like Denial Esports, maybe they take their laner here knowing that Kestrel and the Ringo are already off the table? Or do you think that just means that Rising Lotus maybe say, okay, well, Adagio is going to go in the lane?
It's tough. They're gonna go with the Vox. This is the first Vox of the day, right? Yeah. So I was really curious to see when this would come out here. I think it's a safe pick. You have the Lance. It will help control up the area that Vox wants to kind of dash around in, fighting. That's a strong pick.
I also like this pick because it could also dissuade your opponents from picking a really tanky frontliner, because then the Vox has the option to go Crystal Vox and just focus all of his attacks on that big tanky frontline target, get those resonance bounces. So just picking up the Vox here could actually, you know, change your opponent's game plan this early in the draft.
Oh, Gwen's gonna come out here. I like Gwen into Vox. It's very interesting. They do stack up pretty well. Ultimately, the damage output will be a little bit easier to execute on for Vox if they have the same item build path, but it's a little bit more of that mobility. You have the stun coming out of Gwen, so you know, if Vox kind of gets caught out off guard, it could be burst down.
So does this mean we're probably seeing the Adagio in the roam position? They need to pick up a jungler now, or might we see a jungle Adagio or a jungle Gwen?
I would assume it's going to be a Captain Adagio at this point. We talked about it earlier. A lot of the teams have come out and said they really like Adagio as a captain. And when you have that Gwen, I don't really feel like either of those two fit great in the jungle. Samuel, though, definitely a good jungle pick.
Yeah, especially you have triple range here now. So this is going to be really good. And that's one of the ways that you want to beat Fox. You want to outrange him. And I think this is a nice draft to do so.
Arguably the same for the Lance, right? I mean, he can impale deep onto one target, but if you kind of spread and scatter as soon as he tries to go in, he's going to be barraged from all sides.
Yeah, definitely.
It could also then, you know, I was mentioning the Vox build path based on what your opponents pick. There's no big tanky frontline target on the side of Rising Lotus. So now the Vox is going to want to go weapon power. that means he's going to have to get extremely close to all three of them. Like, they can really just kind of create triangles around the Vox if they can get their positioning right and just shut them down. It also may now
so
force
we
the
know
Lance
they're going to
into the
spread
cap.
out, right? We know they're going to spread. They're not going to clump in the situation. So Beyond Horizon, they want someone that can 1v1 situationally.
Yep.
All right, now
Exactly.
what's that pick going to be here?
It's kind of tough because, you know, the Black Feather would have been a perfect one, but they banned it away themselves. So it's kind of one of those situations where you can draft yourself into a hole here.
What about a Sky? I could see that kind of being able to find whoever's the weakest link and just dash onto him, start going for that fight.
I feel like CP Sky would do fine into the Adagio, but Gwen and Samuel would probably have a pretty good time.
Rhyme could be a possibility.
Oh!
Oh!
I was hoping that we wouldn't see him for a little while longer.
I mean, you know, it just makes sense here. Look, you got squishy targets. They're going to be spreading out.
He is very strong in a 1v1.
Well, 1v1 if there's like
Acrobounce.
minions around.
I'm thinking because it's going to be Crystal.
Yeah.
So the 3-ring circus is very strong in a 1v1 situation. Be able to heal him up a bit and just have so much burst.
It's going to be pretty strong.
Is it going to be Crystal for sure? Like, do you think that makes sense here?
I think that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Ozo, I mean, this is something we haven't seen a lot of in past seasons, but
I mean,
we've been hearing.
Saw it at Worlds.
Yeah, you know, that was a little bit anticlimactic, though. Just saying.
All right, so check it out. No, one of the things though I think we should keep in mind, and like why I think Ozo is a little more effective. He's always been fun, and in the right hands, you could, you know, get work done. They reduced the cooldown on his ultimate on that Bangarang now, so at level 1, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 70 seconds now. But it's basically, you can go through your jungle rotation. Like, once you're level 6, you get your jungle rotation, rotate up into the lane, try to get a nice acro bounce off. If you land 3 bounces, laner's down 50% health, and Bangarang as necessary. But you go back to your jungle rotation, it's up for almost every single rotation, so it's pretty effective.
Yeah, not only that, but, you know, they have the Lance, so you don't have to worry about that massive Ozo counter on the other side. It's all
they knew what they were
planned.
doing.
So do you think then that this sort of is the power pick they needed as the last pick for Denial to lock in having a comp advantage here?
I don't know if it gives them necessarily an advantage, but I think it gives them the tools that they need to win the game.
All right, well, let's see if those tools pan out. We're going to be throwing it back over to Jaws and Excoundrel for game number 2.
Thank you very much, guys. And oh boy, it's Ozo. Scoundrel, what do we have here? This is going to be an absolute stellar game. My goodness, I've not seen Ozo in a long time.
Yeah, Ozo's been making appearances here and there. Definitely down the CP route. He's got the burst capable of sort of getting to that backline. Acrobounce and Bangarang, ridiculously good gap closing abilities, especially bursting someone. Already the route comes down as Rom Gemsword.
Already Bangaranging around. Rom Gemsword is going so low. They might just dashboard. They will. Bastion's picking up the kill already. Wow, what an incredible first blood coming through, and the aggression from Denial. Come on.
Also, the presence of mind from Artemis Grace to say, I'm going to wait to level up a skill. Ended up taking Sonic Zoom first. I mean, classically, in general, I generally see Voxes take Resonance first because they like to sort of... Oh, he just died to the blinking...
Oh my... No, he's going to die!
No! What the hell just happened?
What? How did Agni get those 2 kills?
Because he was the last person to damage him, and the Elder Treant killed them.
Oh my god, Bastion, what were you guys thinking?
I feel like they Oh my god, I can't even make an excuse for that. I like sometimes to say, oh, but sometimes, you know, this happens. No, there's no excuse for that at this level of play.
Bastion and I'm the dude. Come on, man. What was that early? It's like, it's all right. We'll give you a little bit more of a fighting chance, right?
But they're already 1-0 down. I don't think they can afford to keep...
even though they are 1-0 down. Yeah, come on. We were just messing first game, we promise. All right. Well, that's a really good start for Agony, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, not only do they get 2-0 on the Samuel, not only do they recuperate their losses in the middle of the jungle, they also get the Elder Treant, which... We've had discussions about how good Elder Treant actually is. Not that good, really. Not worth losing first blood over anyway. It's not that big of an objective. But if you can get it, it's certainly nice.
2 kills. I just can't believe that. I saw I'm the Doom and I was watching him. I was like, are you actually going to be able to kill that? And I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go.
Hey, Jaws, it felt like I was watching you play.
Oh, what? Well, Phil, there's a couple of times maybe I have died to the jungle creeps. Yes.
Hey,
but...
look. We need it. We need a new broken shard for Vainglory, and I guess we found it.
Oh well, I guess it's me. Oh great. The new guy steps in. It's like,
Not you, mate. Don't worry.
Oh. Great.
Okay, let's reset, Jaws. Let's pretend that never happened, and let's carry on with the game.
Let's carry on. Rom Gem Sword, boy, taking a lot, but hey, with Samu being this far ahead, I mean, this is going to be incredibly hard. I can imagine for Denial to actually kind of counter jungling now. Do you not think?
The issue is that Ozo's a very snowbally hero. So,
Right.
you know, if he can get ahead, then he can really get ahead. He can punish. The acro bounce is a ridiculously long range in some cases. It can be very frustrating as a carry to play against a really fed Ozo. But by losing this early game, he's going to delay his Aftershock build. He's going to be slightly behind where he'd want to be. And if Samuel can pick up something like a Frostburn quickly, then he actually limits how good Ozo is at sort of getting onto that backline. And that's the name of the game here, Jaws. It's getting to that backline. Ozo was picked specifically because he's very good at getting to a backline, very good at bursting a backline. And I feel like huge opportunity from that early game has been thrown away to kind of accelerate that Aftershock build and start to put pressure on these carries.
Oh boy. You know, sometimes when teams do VOD reviews and they're like, right, so we need to do this different in the early game, we need to do this in the mid game, this in the late. It's going to be like, okay, so let's not die
To a camp.
to a camp in the early stages. Wow, that's a few big items coming through already, and that's woof.
I mean, there you go, Frostburn already finished.
Yeah.
At 4 minutes
Insane.
23 into the game, Frostburn has already been finished for Agony. That is going to put a huge spanner in the works for Ozo, who has yet got the Aftershock. But remember, Aftershock, okay, 1v1 just took place.
All right, I missed that completely.
1v1s are hard to catch because sometimes you don't feel that they're happening, but I mean, Lur just walks up, 1v1's Artemis Grace, and again, Gwen proving herself to be very strong still. Here we go.
Oh, banging around. Laura gets taken up here, but he's going to be able to survive it. The heal did come through from, I believe that was the Fountain, and I'm the Doom.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
it was both. I think it was Fountain and Gifted Fire potentially.
Oof, almost back up to full HP already. But I'm the Doom, just not being able to get on that back line. You mentioned, obviously, and rightly so. That's what he's good at. Just could not take out Lure, but the damage still coming out from him is pretty big still.
Had he not died early on, had he got that Aftershock a bit quicker, that would have been a dead Gwen potentially.
Oh, yes.
Or had that 1v1 not happened, Artemis Grace might have Sonic Zoom to pick up the final kill there. But yeah, I think a big deficit now for Denial, and I think I've never liked Ozo when playing from behind. I think Ozo when playing from behind can be really difficult to make work. So now you're kind of putting your eggs in that Vox Tyrant's Monocle, double Tyrant's Monocle breaking point build, which is very strong when you get to it. And Vox is one of the better carries at closing in on a backline. But you can see here already lots of early investment going into defense items for I'm the Doom. Not uncommon for an Ozo, but even more so in this situation, he's going to need them.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to need to survive a little bit longer than he already is. And with that, you do have a Rising Lotus. They do have tower pushing priority. Gideon will, however, Bangarang comes in and he's going to pit bop around, but he isn't going to be able to do anything. He's just getting taken so low time and time again. Drifting Dark is going to come back with Agony. The health bars are low and flashing for Rising Lotus. However, no kills picked up from Denial. The survivability of this team is just so massive as well with this Adagio pick.
Yeah, really, really close call there, you'd have to say. I definitely think Lure gets locked up, but Gift of Fire will do the work. Keep him perfectly safe at the end of that. You're right that the kiteability is very good. I mean, both Buckshot and the Frostburn with the Drifting Dark makes it very hard for both Vox and Bastion to close in, especially if Ozo is the one to initiate. And the one thing that's very good against a Vox is slowing down his movement speed in a way that even with Sonic Zoom, it is still hard for him to kite or hard for him to dive and find his targets. So I think they've done a really good job here with that very early Frostburn on the Samuel. Definitely the item of choice that I would have taken, and it's good to see Agony following suit.
Yeah, and with that, I think they're going to be looking for a fight here at least. They've got ultimates on the side, and Bastion hasn't got his roll, but not going to matter all too much. Whoa, nice start on the backline there. Nobody had to follow up, however. Artemis just kind of shaking that one off, no worries. Brushes that one off and just kind of returns to farming. Gold miner available as always, but not really highly contested. And I can imagine now, just Rising Lotus, they've got such a lead. And Impale does land. Bangarang coming in. He does bop straight onto Agony. Agony's going to be able to zoom out there pretty fast. Bastion taken really low here. He's going to have to be really careful. And I think that'll be it. And Rising Lotus yet again just kind of kiting out Denial.
Yeah, if that Acro Bounce had landed on, and this was sort of like a more even game, that could have been Agony going down. Bangarang not actually used, still on cooldown. And I don't think he's found a good opportunity to use it at this point in time. But those Acro Bounces, usually when an Ozo Acro bounces onto a carry, you are incredibly worried for that carry's ability to survive. But to be honest, I'm not so worried. Ozo's only got Aftershock. He's really heavily itemizing the defense, including the reflex block. Not really doing huge amounts of damage right now, Jaws. And that's great for these carries, especially the fact that now both got reflex blocks. They can have that shielding and also run the flat shield that provides. When they pick up some shielding towards the Aegis as well, Ozo's going to feel even more useless. It's been a really good start here for Rising Lotus. They just need to keep it up.
Yeah, they need to exactly that. Bastion locked into that animation like you were mentioning earlier, taking a lot of damage here. A couple more shots will do it. Ooh, just missing. Agony almost getting there, but I'm the Doom is going to acrobats in, and all right, it's just going to straight back to his tower again. Yep, see you later. Straight back to the turret, not a problem.
Now they've got that siege potential, double range gives you great siege. Actually, Gwen gets locked up, but remember, she's going to get acrobats
going in. Acrobats comes in. There comes the ultimate coming through, but no! Whoa, my goodness! Artemis just gets disintegrated, kill traded over. Gwen is going to fall. I Am the Doom is going really low. Just nothing left in his kit to do any more damage. And Agony yet again, just with the damage traded back into it. He's 3-0 at this time. Scoundrel, he is just an absolute menace for Ozo to deal with.
I have to say, I'm sorry I baited you. I said Acrobounce in, definitely meant Bangarang. It's because we've been switching those names a little bit. But I think there, Artemis Grace played like he had his double turrets monocle already. If he had his double turrets monocle, I fully support an aggressive Vox play like that. But
Acrobounce coming in. Rom's gem is going really low. He just might be caught out here. And Agony, they just went too over aggressive. They're trying to steal some jungle away. Thought he's going to be able to kite them out. Bastion going fairly low. That'll be it, yes. And yes, Bangarang's the ult, obviously. And nice bait.
Sorry, I baited you. I tried to subtly tell you earlier, and then I said it myself. So just
I got
thumbs down, scoundrel.
Feels bad.
So I think I actually genuinely think Rising Lotus could have actually won that fight. You know, they just backed off there, both Lure and Agony. I genuinely think they could have won that fight because you've not even got one Tyrant's Monaco and Artemis Grace right now. He's really not doing damage.
Nice double stun though. Silence comes out as well. Bastion also taking a lot of damage, and yeah, double Tyrant's Monocle is kind of the breaking point, as it were, for this guy to just kind of pop off. But I just can't believe the poke. Yeah, exactly.
I see what you did there, Jules.
You got me. You caught me.
Yeah, I think again, that is the big power spike for Vox, and you kind of want to get it as early as possible. They're going in, that's a lot of damage.
What is this? Bastion just going in super ham, but it's not going to matter, I don't think. I Am the Doom, bring in the Doom. He's going to fall straight on top over on Gemstone. I don't think he's got a chance. He's seeing slowed up left, right, and center. However, the heals are still coming out. Bastion almost falling to the turret as well. Agony trading up a lot of that damage, but I Am the Doom finally coming up big there. Does manage to pick up a kill there.
Finally, Ozo starting to find some element of success in these fights. Artemis Grace, though, taking a lot of damage. Bastion trying to go in here, doesn't get the stun. Would like to see ASAP and Eve of Harvest coming out for Agony, but he is getting a lot of energy coming back from that Corrupted Genius, so doesn't have to worry too much. Definitely think Eve of Harvest should be on the cards for him, though, because you can regenerate huge amounts of health with Drifting Dark and those empowered Malice and Verdicts. Whoa, Bastion still trying to go in here. Really tempting fate, you have to say.
Oh, every time he seems to go in, he's at like sub half HP. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a play now, and now. Like it's quite terrifying because, like you mentioned earlier, you're locked into that certain animation, and it can be quite terrifying, especially
if you land the impale animation. It's shorter. If you miss it, it's not.
You're done. You're basically done though after that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like. People talk about Impale being all in. It's even more all in than a lot of people realize, because if you don't land it, you're suddenly stuck there with your lance stuck into the floor like, crap.
Oh dear, we'll just leave you to die, not a problem. Sacrificial lamb and all.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, After that dreadful early game, it does look like I Am the Doom is pulling back just a little bit, and that's what I wanted to see, because we mentioned don't see Ozo a lot, and it's very exciting to see him. And Bashin, however, getting another root, beautiful Githium wall. Here comes Ozo. Here's the damage we wanted to see, and Lotus just fighting back here, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do much. I Am the Doom is just going to be able to almost destroy him. What, just bouncing around left, right, and centre. Artemis even is the guy you got to look for. Takes out the Gwen. Agony on the back line just gets rooted up. Here comes Ozo yet again. Double kill comes through, and finally he's picking up the speed. He's picking up the kills, and the Crystal Sentry will be the next on the menu, and maybe even a tower here.
Oh, I've got to say, Rising Lotus not playing with the respect that they need to give this composition, but Bashin with an excellent Githian wall meant that Ozo got so much damage down across the team, and he's going towards an even harvest. He's going to be even harder to kill once he picks that item up. Artemis Grace is almost at that 3-item power spike that a Vox needs to succeed. I think that just Rising Lotus are playing with enough respect, with enough vision, and they're kind of, I think they're imagining they are further ahead than they actually are.
Oh, the gold miner does go down. In fact, it goes over to Ozo. Lord's going to have to be careful. He's going to have to run away here. And they are just chasing down a Rom Gem Sword. Drifting Dark's going to come through. The heals as well from him aren't going to be enough. Impressive indeed. Artemis is going to be able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and again, now the huge lead that I think Rising Lotus once had, they've just gifted it back. And somehow, a double kill to the Elder Treant team have found a way back into this game through hanging on and finding the fights that suited them. Admittedly, I've got to be honest, fights gifted by Rising Lotus. But, you know, you take it where you can get it, Jaws. And if you can take it and capitalize on it, like we have seen Denial Esports do here, then, you know, all credit to them, because Double Tyrant's Monocle now finished on Artemis Grace. He's going to be hitting like a truck once those breaking points stack up.
Man, that's going to be a terrifying situation. They're going to have to burst him down fairly fast. And you did mention the ability for Bastion to actually take control of some of these fights, because it seems to me at least, Rising Lotus are just mispositioning and just walking into Githian walls.
I think you hit the nail on the head, and a lot of it is to do with not respecting and not vision.
They
wow,
might
another
walk
fight.
one into again, and Artemis, look at the damage from this guy, and even Ozo is doing so much work. I Am the Doom just coming up tops here. He's going to pick up one, in fact two on the side of Artemis. That's going to be an ace, and the Crystal Sentry is going to go down as well. That early game start, I was sitting there like, are they going to be able to come back? They're proving me that they are.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to take Kraken off the end of this as well if they want to. I actually think Rising Lotus have said, do you know what, Denial, we're gonna give you this game. I hope you enjoy it. Here's the game. Take it in your hand. Keep it warm, because we're giving it to you. They definitely completely threw that early game advantage that they had. They allowed Ozo they gave him that opportunity to get back into the game. He's doing a lot of damage with the Acro Bounce right now. Double Tyrant's Monocle finished on the Vox. And look at this, they're baiting with the Kraken.
They're baiting! Oh my goodness, that bait worked out perfectly. Artemis just with the deeps yet again. They're going to get rooted up, however, by the Treant. Rom Gen Sword, yeah, Sacrificial Lamb. He's just going to be left to die. Double kill coming through. Yet again, Artemis, 7-2. Those breaking point stacks, like you mentioned, stacking up so fast. Double Tyrants, 2 Monocles. Unreal.
This is why Vox is so heavily prioritized. He's one of the only ranged weapon power carries that can make this build work because of his mobility and that Sonic Zoom build basically stack allowing him to stack very quickly on the breaking point. Really, really solid play from Artemis as well, because he had a pretty challenging early game. All of Denial Esports had a pretty challenging early game, and they found their way back in. And admittedly, I thought this series was over. I thought Rising Lotus had this in the bag. I thought they were going to run away with it. But wow, Denial proving me wrong. They found their way back into the situation that I never thought they'd find themselves in. And again, Piercing Shard now picked up by Iron Doom. The guy who I literally built an Aftershock at the same time that Samuel got a Frostburn has now almost got his third item, which will be that Broken Myth.
I love when Ozos go in, because they just bounce around and then just bounce back out again. But he is going to bang around in. He's going to get reflex blocked. He's taking a lot of damage there. He's going to have to escape fairly quickly. Crucible pop there as well by Bastion. That Kraken is doing a mean bit of work on the turret. Same with Artemis as well. They're just going to be able to take it out. No worries. Turret destroyed. They're going to back off. And you could say they're just popping off right now. And a question for you real quick, how do you wear two Tyrant's monocles? Like two monocles, do you wear like both on one eye or like both on either eye?
Like you can tilt it at like maybe 25 degrees and have it like form like a giant X over your head.
Woof.
You know, do you know what I mean?
Badass, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like use your head as like the center sphere, then have one monocle on your left eye tilted like to the left, then rotate the other one and tilt it to the right. So it forms like a big X in front of your face, and then you've got two Tyrant's monocles on. Do you see what I'm getting at?
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
I see what you're getting at. Oh, come on. A pause comes through. My goodness. I mean, that's how you know a Vox is scary. He's walking to you with two monocles on his face.
Yeah,
but,
dude, I would be scared of that.
Yeah,
I'd be scared of. Whenever Glaive sometimes built two monocles, I thought, how scary would a Glaive with double Tyrant's monocle coming at you? I'm pretty sure Glaive's blind, right? So Glaive doesn't even need the monocle. Is Glaive blind? I'm pretty sure Glaive's blind.
He looks it. I mean, he's got like a bandage over his face,
He
right?
He's like, wears the bandages all over his face because obviously he ripped Ringo's arm off in like some sort of bet. I never read the lore until if Glaive was blind or not. I have to double check that.
But if he is, he's just wearing it for a fashion statement then, right?
I would wear a Tyrant's
monocles
for a fashion statement though. That look pretty badass, you know.
They do look pretty badass.
Anyway, let's reel it back in.
How Denial are just opening this game up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because of just some poor teamfight positioning over and over again from Rising Lotus. Admittedly, they had that early game that was strong, but they never really found those executing blows. It always felt like they were kiting back and not dying. And that's great against an early game Ozo if you can manage to maintain that. The one get out clause that I think Denial Esports have had is that the fact that in the late game, the reason Gwen maybe isn't so high priority as Ringo and Vox is that she doesn't deal with the same amount of damage. Her damage output compared to Ringo and Vox just is nowhere near as good. So you're getting to the point in the game now where you've got this Vox with the double Tyrant's monocle and breaking point up against Gwen, just not dealing the same levels of damage.
Yeah, and we'll see if she can kind of pull this back. She's 1-5-1 right now, just not had the impact that they had last game. And I want to see if they do change up the draft as well. If Denial Esports do take this game off Rising Lotus, they'll be one apiece, and this series has just been backwards and forwards if that happens.
It's been an absolutely insane series for the sort of how close the game has been. We saw a Team Secret series where they completely dominated, and now we're seeing, oh well, going in.
Oh boy, my client is broken. You're gonna have to.
I'm gonna keep going. Here they go. It is actually gonna be Agony going down first. Artemis Race being thrown down by the Sentry, however, and now it is just Gwen versus Ozo. Gwen taking huge amount of damage, gets locked up in the Impale. She turns around and gets a kill onto the Lance, but it is I'm the Doom show right now, and Artemis and Grace are going to lock Rom Gem's sword between their grasps. The pincers come down, and the Ozo and Vox walk out scot-free. They're going to push for the end here, and I think they can very well achieve it.
If they push for the end, that'll be it. I mean, taking this 1-on-1, I've just loaded back into the game and see everybody just kind of lying on the floor dead. And yeah, I think you're not wrong there, Scoundrel. Denial Esports taking this one. And it will be 1-1 in the series so far. However, I don't know, can they do it? Agony has spawned. They're going to just jump on him. That's a lot of damage. Artemis doing so much work. And in fact, actually, they're going to just run away here. And I think Ozo just giving up his life is kind of the right option here. Maybe taking Agony with him. Not enough work. He is end up going to go down eventually. And so it's going to be a 1-for-2 turret trade. Kraken is on the board.
It's a shame that Gwen doesn't feel like she can go Poison Shiv in this matchup, because I think Poison Shiv would be absolutely excellent, especially with the buffs that it received in the last patch, the extra 10 weapon power. But she feels like she has to go the armor because of how threatening the Vox is. If the Vox wasn't as threatening, I genuinely feel like Poison Shiv would have been an excellent buy for her as a 4th damage item, because she needs that damage output to keep up with the Vox, and it counters the Ozo really heavily. So, I mean, they're going to go for Kraken here though, Jaws. Can it get stolen?
Can it get stolen? I know Artemis has got a lot of damage. He's looking for it. Bashing as well. Doesn't like Rising Lotus. I'm just going to try and kite this one out. Here comes the damage. Who's going to steal it? No steal comes through. In fact, Low is going to be able to pick that one up. Bashing is now being chased here from 3 members. Githian wall doesn't quite land. Couldn't get the Impale over the wall either. That's going to be a Kraken up here. This is actually turning into a real spicy game, as the Kraken is on the side of Rising Lotus.
Yeah, but one move, 1 foot out of place, and it will be a dead game for Rising Lotus. They have to play this perfectly. They have to try and run with this Kraken as far as they can go to try and end the game outright. Lure going in, very front line here. Acrobounce doesn't land doesn't want to go aggressive without that backup of Bastion. I think they're just going to wait for those timers to go down because of the turrets.
Yeah, I think they're just going to let those turrets go. I'm the Doom, facing a lot of Doom there. Zaka bounce away, taking a lot of damage. That drifting dart doing so much work. And even Artemis is just kind of forced to back off. Bastion has spawned now, though. So it will be a 3-on-3 at long last. Broken Myth even being picked up by I Am the Doom.
Look at this, 3/4 health on the Kraken. They abandoned her because of how risky it would be to face up against a fully healed Denial when they were on about 3/4 HP. That is how safe the Rising Lotus team are playing right now. Again, that 1 foot wrong that we talked about, they don't want to put it out right now. They're going to say, okay, we got 1 turret with the Kraken, not gold efficient because we give them more gold than we gain. But it delays the game for us, and maybe delaying the game is all we need. It's going to be a full metal jacket completed by Lur. I am worried for his damage output. I am also worried for the overall damage output from Rising Lotus. I don't know how strong it is. You're really relying on Samuel to hit Empowered, Malice, and Verdict. And if he doesn't hit them, you kind of don't really have much left in the bank. It looks like Artemis Grace was potentially going for it.
Whoa, he is trying to go for something. The ultimates come out left, right, and center. Bastion just trying all his best. He gets a double Githian wall, and this could be the turnaround. How the Artemis is going really low, does back out the fight. Ozo doing so much damage. I Am the Doom just bang-a-ranging around and jumping left, right, and center. Just will not leave the Gwen alone. She ends up going down. Ron Gemsword as well in the back line just cannot deal with the damage coming out from this Ozo pick. Double kill for him. This is going to be the end of the gaming scoundrels. If they've done it, Denial Esports, they've taken the game, or what looked like Rising Lotus's victory at the start.
Oh, I thought Artemis Grace was going to walk over the scout trap there. The ace comes through, and he ends the game by himself. The Vein Crystal will explode. 1-1 apiece. Felt like there was almost a comeback there, Jaws. Artemis Grace was, I think, looking to apply pressure to the Vein Crystal or get lanes into the base. Overstepped and almost put himself into a death position. Escaped on a sliver of... I don't know how he escaped. And again, damage strong enough to get through the Ozo healing. I'm holding my hands up and saying maybe Poison Shiv would have been good on the Gwen. You know, the armor... If the Vox gets to you, you're probably dead anyway, right? So scrap the armor, maybe pick up a Poison Shiv. It might have been the only way for you to win that game.
Yeah, the only way you're going to trade up realistic damage. My goodness. We see Ozo for the first time in the day. 9-2-10 on that pick. I Am the Doom is gotta be a guy you got to watch out for. This will be interesting to see actually what he picks in the next one, because we are going to the 3rd game of this best of 3. And the thing is, both of these teams have looked so strong in both these games.
They looked fantastic, mate. I can't wait for the next game in this series.
Absolutely not. But we'll get a little bit more of a breakdown on that game. We're going to jump straight over to the analyst desk. Me and Scoundrel will see you guys very soon.
Thank you very much, guys. All right, our first Game 3 of Spring 2017. Going to be a good one. Humanist,